I try not to judge people. Everyone's got their reasons. Maybe they're going insane here. Maybe they need, some kind of stress relief, and that's all they know. Maybe they're going to see a loved one. I don't know. However, for that proportion who are going there knowingly in violation of public health rules, flagrantly flouting their disrespect for the disease, I want to implore them not to do so. And my judgment is, I don't want to say they're selfish, but there is a bit of selfishness at play here. This sense that my need for recreation is greater than the need of the population to remain safe. We can wait a few more months, most of us. So let's try to wait a few more months.
Okay, so we scrape the flight numbers for the last couple of months, and we see this resumption and curve in the number of flights. More than 1,500 flights since October to 18 popular sun destinations. What do you make of that?
These data suggest to me that these trips to sunny destinations are not essential travel. They're probably not. I mean, some possibly are, diplomatic travel and so forth, but most are vacationers. So it tells me that people are not following public health guidance, and maybe they're thinking they can escape from the lockdown in Canada by going somewhere else to isolate, which is a faulty kind of logic.
What do these numbers about flights to these sun destinations tell you about the efficacy of this federal government advice to Canadians to avoid non-essential travel?
It tells me that the advice is being followed to a large part, but not 100%. And this disease doesn't tolerate a lot of dissent when it comes to following public health guidance. A very small number of people flouting the rules can reintroduce infection to an extreme amount. So it is worrying. There is going to be a contingent of people who live by the rules, not the guidance. So there often is in our liberal democratic society a reliance upon common good behavior. And there's always going to be a tiny fragment of the population that sees that as an opportunity to be disrespectful of the common good and to simply say, well, the laws don't explicitly prevent me from doing these things, so I will do them. So good faith goes out the window. So much of Western democratic life is based on good faith. And when good faith fails, that's when we enact law. And I hope it does not come to the enactment and writing of law, but it might come to that.
How close are we?
I don't think we're that close, to be honest. I think we have these other tools first to look at. Had this conversation been had a few months ago, I think we'd be close to it. But now that the vaccine is here, and that seems to be our most favored type of salvation, and everyone's putting their hopes in getting vaccine out as quickly as we can, then the tolerance, the appetite for this kind of restriction will be poor, especially since it does compromise the livelihood of airline employees and so forth. So I don't think it's politically saleable, but I'm not an expert in politics, I can't say for sure. I don't think it's economically saleable, but again, I'm not an economist. From a public health standpoint, I think it should have been considered a while ago.
For people who rationalize, look, I'm going to take all the steps, I'm going to be distant, I'm going to ensure that I don't expose myself or myself to others. And if there is really just such a small number of cases that are tracked to international travel, what's the problem here?
You cannot control who is in the airplane with you. You can't control the nature and the environment of the airport when you arrive. You can't control the hygienic quality of the taxi that you take from the airport to your destination, whatever it might be. So while you might be doing the right things, the people around you might not, especially in many of these countries that don't have the same amounts of public health rigor that we do. So it is a high gamble. It is a steep gamble that I don't think is worth taking.